Hey everyone, and welcome. So if you're watching this, chances are you or someone you really care about is staring down a major life event. And let's be real for a second, needing to take a chunk of time off work for a birth, a health crisis, or a family emergency, that is incredibly stressful all on its own. The absolute last thing you need right now is to be bogged down by confusing paperwork and clunky government websites. Well, that is exactly why we put together this explainer. Think of this as your ultimate chronological playbook to navigating the Paid Leave Oregon program. We've gone straight to the official state resources and guidelines to distill the whole shebang into one clear, actionable path for you. So let's dive right in.
We absolutely know the feeling. You're already juggling doctor's appointments, maybe trying to prepare a nursery or dealing with a sudden safety crisis. And on top of all that, you have this bureaucratic headache of figuring out how you're going to pay rent while you're away from work. Luckily, Paid Leave Oregon was designed to be the exact solution to this problem. It's a safety net built to give you the time away to focus on what actually matters without completely sacrificing your livelihood.
And to really put into perspective just how much of a game changer this program is, I want you to look at this number right here, 12. Under this program, eligible workers can get up to 12 weeks of paid leave. And actually, if you're dealing with limitations related to pregnancy or childbirth, that can even extend up to 14 weeks. Even better, depending on your wages compared to the state average, you could receive up to 100% of your income while you're out. Getting a handle on how to secure these benefits is absolutely crucial, and that's exactly what we're going to help you do today.
Now, whenever we're talking about government benefits, there is a lot of misinformation floating around out there. But look for that official Paid Leave Oregon logo. I want to reassure you that every single thing we cover in this explainer is drawn directly from the official state guidelines, the Oregon Employment Department, and the Bureau of Labor and Industries. We're giving you the verified facts so you can hit submit on that application with total confidence.
Okay, here's our game plan. We'll quickly cover what the program is, check your eligibility, gather up your required documents, review deadlines and employer notice, walk through the actual application steps, and wrap up with FAQs and final tips.
Section 1. What is Paid Leave Oregon? Let's go over the basics of the state program.
At its core, this program is funded by payroll taxes, taxes that you and your employer are likely already paying into, to provide partial or full income replacement and job protection. The state groups these life events into 3 distinct buckets. First, there's family leave, which is for bonding with a new child by birth, adoption, or foster placement, or for caring for a sick family member. Second is medical leave, and that's for your own serious health condition, like surgery recovery or pregnancy issues. Finally, there's safe leave. This is a vital protection that gives you time off to seek help or recover if you or your dependent child experience domestic violence, assault, harassment, or stalking. Now, when you apply, you have to select the correct one of these 3. And a quick tip, if you need more than one type, say medical leave for giving birth, followed by family leave for bonding, you actually have to file a separate application for each one.
Moving right along to Section 2, checking your eligibility. Do you actually qualify for these benefits?
Before you gather a single piece of paperwork, you need to know this magic number, $1,000. To qualify, you must have earned at least $1,000 in your base year in Oregon. What's a base year? It's generally the first 4 of the last 5 completed calendar quarters before you apply. But the really amazing thing here is how inclusive it is. It absolutely counts whether you work full-time, part-time, seasonally, or even if you have to string together earnings from a few different Oregon employers just to hit that $1,000 mark. Let's break down how this works across different worker categories, kind of like a matching game. If you're a standard W-2 employee making over $1,000, boom, you are almost certainly automatically eligible. Federal government employees, however, are not eligible for this specific state plan. But what if you're self-employed or an independent contractor? Well, you aren't automatically covered, but you can choose to opt into the program. The exact same goes for tribal government employees. You're covered if your specific tribal government decides to opt in.
Section 3, gathering required documents. Let's get your paperwork in order.
I literally cannot emphasize this enough. Documentation is the #1 hurdle applicants face, so consider this your pre-flight checklist before you even think about opening the state portal. Depending on your leave type, the state requires very specific proof. For family leave for a birth, you need the state's verification of birth form, especially if you're applying before the baby's born, or a birth certificate or a hospital admission form. For medical leave, you need the official verification of serious health condition form or a federally approved FMLA certification. And while we couldn't fit it on this slide, safe leave has its own secure requirements too, like a police report, a protective order, or a statement from a professional like a counselor.
All right, listen up, because these are some insider pro tips straight from the state guidelines that will save you a massive headache. First, don't jump the gun. Your forms cannot be signed more than 60 days before your expected leave starts. Second, and oh man, this trips up so many people, there can be absolutely no alterations on your medical forms. No whiteout, no crossing things out. If your doctor messes up, they have to fill out a brand new form. Using whiteout is an automatic rejection, period. Also, your forms have to clearly show a diagnosis, a start date, an expected end date, and the actual signature and credentials of your healthcare provider.
Section 4. Deadlines and employer notice. Because timing really is everything here.
You could have the most pristine, perfect paperwork in the world, but it means absolutely nothing if you miss the state's rigid deadlines. The golden rule of paid leave Oregon revolves around the number 30. You can apply for benefits up to 30 days before your leave begins, and you must apply no later than 30 days after it begins. Miss that window, and you risk a flat-out denial. It's a similar story with your boss. You have to give your employer 30 days written notice for foreseeable events, like a planned surgery or a due date. Now, what if it's a true emergency? In that case, you've got to notify your employer within 24 hours of the leave starting, and then follow up with written notice within 3 days.
You definitely do not want to ignore that employer notice rule. Take a look at this warning. If you're planning a scheduled surgery, for example, and you keep your boss in the dark until the week before, the state can actually penalize you by slashing your first weekly benefit by 25%. Seriously, don't leave money on the table. Keep your employer in the loop early.
Section 5. The application process steps. Let's navigate Francis Online.
Okay, we've checked eligibility, we have our whiteout-free documents, and we know our 30-day deadlines. Let's actually submit this thing. The state's portal is called Francis Online, and it is by far the quickest route. Step 1. Create your account. Step 2. Right there on the home screen, click File a Paid Leave Oregon Claim. Step 3. Just follow the prompts to put in your dates, pick your leave type, and upload those documents we gathered. Step 4 only kicks in if you are taking intermittent leave, meaning you're just taking a day here and a day there for treatments rather than all at once. If that's you, you'll need to log back in to file weekly claims. And hey, if Francis Online isn't your thing, paper and phone applications are available too, they just take a bit longer to process.
Now, I want to clear up a major misconception right here. While you absolutely have to notify your employer that you're taking leave, your company's HR department does not approve or deny your state benefits. It is the Oregon Employment Department that manages determinations, processes your claim, and actually issues your payments.
Finally, Section 6. FAQs and final tips. Navigating tricky situations.
The absolute biggest fear we hear is, will I lose my job if I take this time off? The answer is no, provided you have worked for your employer for at least 90 consecutive days prior to your leave. That guarantees your job protection. Plus, your employer has to keep your health insurance and pension rights rolling, just like you were still at your desk. Also, a quick legislative update. As of July 1, 2024, the rules changed so that the Oregon Family Leave Act, or OFLA, and Paid Leave Oregon cannot be taken at the exact same time.
You might also run into this scenario. What if your boss says, hey, we have an equivalent plan? Under the law, companies can actually opt out of the state's Francis Online system if they offer their own private plan that is equal to or better than the state's. If HR tells you this, don't panic. The benefits are the same. You're just going to apply directly through your employer's chosen third-party administrator instead of the state portal.
Here's a great best practice regarding your privacy. When you give that required 30-day notice to your employer, keep it minimal. Legally, they cannot ask you for sensitive medical details. All you have to tell them is the type of leave, the general covered event, and your expected duration. You do not have to hand over your specific diagnosis to your boss.
At the end of the day, remember this. You have been paying into this program out of every single paycheck. It is literally there to make sure that when life happens, when a new baby arrives or a loved one gets sick, you aren't forced to choose between your family's well-being and paying your bills. So don't hesitate. Take the step to apply, follow the chronological steps we covered, and prioritize your life events.
Just a quick disclaimer. The information in this explainer is based on current state resources, so always verify your specific details and deadlines directly with the official Oregon Employment Department. Thank you so much for joining me today. So, looking at the year ahead, what major life event might you need to prepare for? And are you finally ready to claim the time you so rightfully deserve?